Sure. Sam, just opening thoughts on after a wild one like this and all the offense, just what you made of how it all played out.
Well, I was really proud of KJ Jefferson. I thought he stepped in there and played one heck of a football game. Traylon Burks, offensive guys, offensive line, they played really well. Defense, we didn't play well. They beat us up. Their offensive line whipped us on our defensive line. Their receivers were open. They beat us in man coverage. They beat us in zone coverage. We couldn't get to the quarterback. Couldn't get either runner on the ground. Roundtree obviously rushed for about 185 yards on us, and we just didn't play good team defense and play good defense. And we obviously got to make hit our extra points. Other than that, I thought the special teams played pretty well.
Scotty.
Yeah, Coach, I guess just how proud are you of KJ, and what kind of a week did he have? Did you expect maybe a game like this?
You're asking about Scotty?
KJ Jefferson, I'm sorry.
What kind of week?
Yes, sir. Yeah, and then just
he had a really good week. We knew early in the week that Felipe was beat up and that we didn't know if he'd be able to play or not. He certainly tried on Wednesday, but just wasn't ready. I know he tried on Tuesday, and he just wasn't ready. And we came out here today, and we asked him to throw some balls and see if he could play. But obviously, we knew KJ was ready, and he had practiced. And more importantly, the coaching staff and the team believes in him, and we certainly should, with that performance.
Sam, what was Missouri able to do there in those last 43 seconds? And was there anything you would have liked to do differently on that defensive possession?
No. Yeah, I'd like to pick one or get a sack or cover a guy, just like Barry would, and Sam would. But we get no pressure on the kid. We couldn't cover them, and they just went right down the field, and they'd hand it off, and he got down to the 15-yard line on us in 40-something seconds, and they had a good field goal kicker. He made every one of them, and so I don't know what else you do. I mean, you can pressure him, but if you can't play man coverage, you can't pressure, so I don't know what you do. We'll try to figure it out. I can tell you that, but I do know what you do. We just have to do it. And do I think Barry called a bad 42 seconds? No. But we got to cover them, and we got to get pressure. I mean, there is such a thing in football as winning your one-on-one battle, and that's what we need to do.
Jason.
Hey, Coach, how much did losing Grant affect that defense there after he went out? It looked like things changed quite a bit. I know you're talking about that coverage, but just losing that presence.
I think, obviously he's one of our best football players. He's our leader. He's a captain. He gets everybody lined up. Obviously, that hurt us, he's a guy that we plan on being out there. And, he's made a lot of tackles this year. I think about as many as anybody else has in the country. And but more than that, Jason, you're really missing his leadership, getting everybody lined up, getting to the ball.
Nikki.
Coach, you had a 150-plus receiver and running back. Just how happy are you with the play calling today and the execution from the offense and, scoring more than you have?
Yeah, excuse me, Nikki, I'm sorry. I think anytime that you can score 48 points and have 550 or more yards or whatever it was, you'd be pleased. Obviously, today was a day where you had to score almost every time you got it, and we certainly didn't do that. But for our offensive line, for our offense, that has to be a confidence builder. They have to do it next time they go out there, but it has to give them some confidence.
Let me know if you've got more questions in the chat. Tom?
Sam, I'm assuming you had a 2-point play queued up pretty much when you went down the field on that. Was no doubt about what you were going to do there?
Yeah, no doubt. matter of fact, they'd scored and went up 7, and they'd scored 21 in a row, and they went up 7 on us. And in that last drive, I told Kendall, I said, I'm going for 2. I'm going to end this thing. We can't, we're having a hard time stopping them. We're going to steal this game, go home. And then the last timeout there, before we scored, I just reminded the team. I told the team, I said, hey, I'm going for 2. We're going to get this 2-point conversion, go home. And it was a wild play, but we did get it, and we couldn't stop them.
Jason.
Hey, Coach, defensively, there were a couple critical offside penalties that kind of kept drives going a couple times today. Just how disappointing were those, and how big were they?
There's more than a couple, and that's unacceptable. And we've got to coach it better. I got to do a better job with it. But we can't – the first 2 drives, I know, we gave them penalty yards, and they kicked a field goal and they scored a touchdown off of it. And we're not good enough to help somebody down the field now. We have to be penalty-free and disciplined, and we weren't. It's very disappointing.
Matt.
Coach, what did you think of Traylon Burks, predominantly catching the ball, but also running it? And how much did he help having an inexperienced quarterback?
Having who?
Having a quarterback who hasn't played a lot like Jefferson, how much did it help
him? Well, I think, he made some spectacular catches, but those guys gave KJ a lot of confidence. They were confident in him, and all week during practice, they tried to build his confidence. But, you look at Traylon and he looks here like he counted for a whole bunch of yards, receiving, over 200 yards receiving, and then running the ball. I know he ran the ball well too. So you're right. I think, we used him quite a bit more today, and certainly we need to use him and continue to do that.
I think the other day you said that you don't necessarily need to run for 200 yards, but you went for almost 300 on the ground today. What did you think about Traylon, first of all, but then also what TJ Hammonds gave you?
Yeah, Hammonds did a nice job. He caught a couple of passes. He rushed for, 52 yards. It looks like here's what it says. And, Traylon, he went for 172 yards. And, you look at the line, there's a lot of big holes in there. The backs were running hard. And the offense wasn't a problem. We got to stop them. So, but I'm proud of the guys that how they played it and played on offense, and we'll work hard and get the defense figured out. We will. They've played well all year, and we'll get them figured out. We got a great defensive coordinator. He'll do a great job getting them figured out.
Tom.
What can you say about the way Kendall tailored the game plan for KJ? And were there some nuances and that kind of fake toss counterplay to Traylon? Can you speak to just how good that was too?
It really was, instead of blocking that guy, we basically blocked him with a pitch, and we're able to get numbers to the ball that way. And I thought that was very creative, and it worked out well for us. Our little backdoor draw play worked out really well for us today. But I thought Kendall called a great game, and our kids executed it, and, really hats off to the offense. They did a nice job.
Nikki.
Coach, the defense did get, several stops to hold them to field goals. So what was it that they were doing differently during the comeback portion? Was it just them going up tempo? And then also, several Missouri injuries while you guys were trying to, push the football down the field. Any thoughts on those?
Well, I don't know if the kids were hurt or not, but there was a lot of them, and there's no penalty for that. So, again, I'm not a medical doctor, but there were a lot of kids that got hurt and they came back today, and that's not the integrity of the game, in my opinion.
Last one, Jason.
Coach, I wonder the impact that Felipe had on KJ throughout the week and during the game. We saw a lot of shots of those guys together. Just how much that was maybe a calming factor for KJ as well, having Felipe there to kind of help him along.
I think it was big. I think KJ wanted to make Felipe proud. I mean, I do. I think he wanted to say, hey, look, you know, I've learned from you. I can play as well, but I think he wanted to make him proud of him, and by golly, he had to have. He made me proud.
Thanks, Coach. That'll wrap us up.
Thanks, guys.